When it comes to diagnosing the end link, the process is pretty simple. What you need to do is make sure the vehicle is on completely even level with both tires on the ground, or both front tires need to be lifted up. What you'll do is grab a hold of the sway bar here and you'll move it up and down. You'll feel a little bit of play and hear a bit of a noise. I'm going to stick the mic up to it to see if it will pick it up. So you can see I don't even need to move the end link or sway bar very much, and I can hear the clicking noise pretty prominently. In today's video, we're going to be going over the process of replacing the sway bar end link on a 2014 Chevrolet Equinox. So now that I've shown you how to diagnose the front end link for the Chevy Equinox, we're going to jump into the repair. The first thing we're going to do is lift the vehicle up, and we're going to remove the front tire. Now that we got the front tire lifted up off the ground, we're going to remove it. So you can see now that only one side of the vehicle is lifted up. When I move on this end link here, there's no noise and there's no movement here. Because the vehicle is unevenly lifted right now with only one side off of the ground, the end link is tight. When it comes to removing the end link, it's pretty simple. You only need two tools: a Torx bit to fit into the middle here to hold the threads, and an 18mm wrench to break the nut free. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to throw on the wrench on the nut down here, and we're going to add the Torx bit into the middle. So now that we've got the hex bit holding and the wrench on, we're going to break this free. So what you can do is, once you've cracked the nut free, if you put the hex bit into a forward position instead of a loosening position and you hold on to the nut, you'll actually loosen it off. So we've got it to the position where we can loosen it off by hand now. So we're going to crack free the top one also, and then we'll pull the end link out. So now that we're ready to remove the top one, we're going to also take this one off by hand, and I'm going to show you how to put these back on using an air gun. Most of the time though, with something as small as this, I do find using an air gun on this is a bit overkill. So we've got the hex bolt installed. So this one here is being a little bit stubborn. So what I've done instead, because the hex won't stay inside of the actual screw here, I've attached a set of vice grips to the rear to hold it in place. And now When I do it, I'm removing the nut and it's holding the threads in place. So we now have both nuts removed. And we can remove the end link. So now that we have the old end link removed, we've got our new piece here. So we're using the GM right hand. So part number 15779661. We also did get two new nuts here. So those are 1151 6078. So we're just going to stick it in loosely on the top as well as in the bottom here. So now that we've got the end line basically loosely installed here, we're going to put on the new two bolts. So now that we've got the top one starting to thread in here, I'm going to show you with the compressor how you would tighten it down using an air gun. Again, you want to be cautious here. You don't want to over tighten it and you don't want to strip out the housing for the hex bolt on the inside. So I'm just going to use a little bit to tighten up some of the threads here quick, and then we're going to go back to the hand tools. So we're pretty tight there. We're going to switch down to tighten up the bottom also. And again, like I said, you want to make sure that you take your time there and you don't go too hard, because you may damage the inside here and then you won't be able to get that hex back inside of there. So now that we're ready to do the bottom one, what we're going to do is put the wrench back on there to hold the nut. We're going to stick in our hex, and we're actually going to use the ratchet in a reverse position. Again, if you're using it in the reverse position, it's actually tightening down against the nut. If you use it in the forward position, it's loosening the nut for you. This will be a little bit easier than trying to do this with the wrench, as well as if you're using a ratcheting wrench, sometimes the head is a little bit too big. So that's tight there. So you don't need to go excessively tight here with these nuts. I'm going hand tight and then giving it a little bit more to make sure they stay in their position here for you. So now that we've got the new end link replaced here, we can start to put the tire back on, and we'll get this back on the ground, and we'll check again to make sure that the end link is nice and tight and you don't have any noise or play. The tire back on, and then when we get the vehicle back on the ground, we're going to torque the tire, and we're going to take the vehicle for a quick drive. So now that we've got the wheel back on and it's torqued, you're able to take the vehicle out for a test drive. This has been a quick video showing how easy it is to replace your end link on the Chevrolet Equinox. If you found this video useful or enjoyed this content, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.